Let me tell you about Otis. Or maybe I should start by telling you what I've thought about Otis all along. I'm very much aware that people like to talk about the miracle. And yes, I've dangled my feet off the dock and into that pond myself. But I'm speaking as someone who knew Otis, or who knows him, or who knows him. And therein lies the whole problem, which is to say that I'm speaking from experience, from observation, from the empirical. Now, as a general rule, I hesitate to employ the words fact or truth, because there's simply too much selling of saints' bones and angels' tears under the aegis of those otherwise felicitous terms. However, in the case of Otis, I'm very sorely tempted by them, given that I was, as they say, there. Now, I believe that we have an obligation to cleave to reason in this good life, and though the seductive force of miracle can be powerful indeed, I am of the firm conviction that rationality must, and necessarily will, triumph over superstition, sortilege, and whatever other manner of hocus-pocus you manage to throw at it. So yes, he came. I saw it. And yes, he also left. Now, there's something about leave-taking that has the stench of the grave about it, and it's only right that we respond to it with dread and an unflinching line of defense. It is not without justice that the period I'm referring to is also known as the abandonment, or the rift. But you may comfort yourselves with the sobering thought that this is not about Otis alone, but applies equally to all of us. Leaving is a kind of death. Dixit. In fact, it was Otis himself who wrote, "When the leaving begins, the living ends." Now, doesn't that blow your mind? This is our nightmare. We're all just happy little verbs, just living and loving away, and then suddenly, wham, we become fucking nouns. Well, I feel that I should confess my discomfort with Otis's near constant cursing, as well as with his enthusiastic use of the vernacular. I know that my sentiments are of little import, but I trust that they will lend credibility to my claim to be reporting the man and not the myth. Some of you might appreciate the difference. And in case you suspect that I'm meandering, let there be no doubt whatsoever that we are talking about Otis, the one who left, and according to an improbable number of fervent souls, the one who returned. So what happened in the middle? Well, that's the prickly end of the cactus, as we say out here in the drylands. And to speak plainly, it's kind of the whole point of this exercise. As an insider witness, a confidant, and dare I say, a participant in the arrival, departure, and rebirth of Otis Arsenian, I am here to offer some sorely needed clarity. You can count on me. As to the end, that's a long way off, as far as this story is concerned. But I said that I would tell you that what I've been thinking about Otis all along. So let me add that I often wonder whether he was ever anything more than just a projection of our desire for there to be an Otis in this world. For this world to include an Otis. Was he ever anything more than that? Let me begin. Otis came from Armenia by way of Constantinople, as he enjoyed calling it. It is said that he traveled the length of the Black Sea's southern shoreline in an old Welsh coracle. In the port of Istanbul, he caught a steamer which turned its way to Tenerife before cutting a scurvy path windward to New Orleans, where Otis signed on as cook on a northbound riverboat. Except that this is the 21st century, and I'm quite sure, thanks to the records, that he actually caught a bucket shop flight to Chicago where he hired a Cherokee 4x4 on a Pilford Amex Black and headed out on the highway. But whether you prefer the Fantasia or the Verity, I can attest with certainty that Otis made his scene-stealing entry into our lives by being spewed from a monster dust devil in the Albertan Badlands. As photographed by a team of quick-reflexed paleontologists on a dig, with yours truly among their number, he was leather-helmeted, begoggled, and slung beneath a fuchsia-colored paraglider decorated, for no comprehensible reason, with the face of Casper the Friendly Ghost. He grounded his outlandish rig at our feet in the 105-degree heat, quite tangled in the Gore-Tex and nylon, but with his right hand outstretched and pointing at the notebook open on my knee, saying, "Hey there, buddy, I see you've been getting all this down. That's great. And you guys all have cameras? This is perfect. You're hired. That is, assuming you want to change from, and he made a big theatrical sweep of the arm, all this shit. When he wasn't just being profane, Otis was in the habit of speaking elliptically, and, dare I say, unfathomably. What, for example, did he mean when he was talking about verbs and nouns? I really have no idea, and I'm rather sure that neither did he. But I do know that, for Otis, words were insubstantial when compared to acts. So nobody should have been surprised at what came next. Immediately he had unbelted himself from the contraption. He marshaled the assistants of our crew to gather up the bits, then tipped his chin upward to the genuinely fierce sun and whistled to it for a cab. People, he announced as he removed his goggles, get ready to rock and roll.